Let's get right into it. The NBA playoffs have indeed started. We got a full-throated playoff game on Tuesday night between Golden State and Memphis, won at the end by Golden State. We also had a game in Orlando. Trae Young got ejected. The Magic finished very strongly. We'll talk about the Eastern Conference at a later time. We've got to focus on playoff Jimmy and
play-in Jimmy
and playoff Jimmy and just regular great Steph Curry. This was really, there was a lot going on in this game. A little bit too much officiating late. Both teams, I think, had points in the fourth quarter, which took it felt like 50 minutes to play the fourth quarter.
Well, it was a full 3-hour game in regulation. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. I think, too many whistles in general, but I don't know, generally evened out. What really mattered here, Steph Curry made 4 or 5 tremendous plays down the stretch, 2 clutch 3-pointers, 4 clutch free throws. And I have to say, some amazing play without the ball on out of bounds plays in the final minute. He was being double teamed by the Grizzlies, as you'd expect, because he's one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time. He twice looked like an all-pro wide receiver getting open to get the ball to get fouls. And then I didn't quite understand, in basically the coup de grace of the game, I didn't understand why Steve Kerr had Steph Curry on the ball. He put Curry into the game to guard the ball in the inbound, Santi Aldama. The Grizzlies had an opportunity to hit a 3 to tie the game with 5 seconds left. Curry's leaping up and down in front of Aldama, who's got 6 inches, 7 inches on him.
Yeah.
And Aldama doesn't get the ball in. It's a 5-second call, although I'd like to see the counter on that. But
Aldama was so surprised Steph was in there. What's this guy doing? It took him 5 seconds to figure it out, and suddenly it's a violation.
Look, here's the whole story of this game, and it goes back to the week of the trade deadline. And Mike Dunleavy chose to trade for his old teammate, Jimmy Butler. And it was to put Jimmy Butler together with Steph Curry. Here's their first playoff game together. Combined 75 points and 10 assists, going 25 for 31 from the foul line. And nobody else on the Warriors scored more than 12. Mm-hmm. It was a 2-man show. And those guys rocked and rolled their way through the game. And look, Memphis came back, made it a lot more interesting to look like being the first half. But this was the vision that the Warriors had, was these two guys can lead this team on a run through the playoffs.
Play-in.
And, well, yes, through the playoffs, bro. Now they're in the playoffs because they won today.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
Those stats disappear. Just poof, gone until
all right, well, whatever on that.
That's fine. Fine. The point is, Jimmy, this is the version of Jimmy Butler the Warriors traded for. And over the last couple of weeks, when he has had games where he hasn't really been shooting the ball and hasn't been doing a lot, I was curious to see what version Jimmy Butler would show up in the playoffs.
I wasn't curious. I knew exactly.
I wanted to see if he could still dial it up like this. And in the first game, he dialed it up like this. And if he and Steph can play like this, the Warriors have a chance to win a couple rounds in the playoffs.
Well, and I guarantee you they'll head to Houston thinking they have the 2 best players in that series. Guarantee you that. They might be a 7 seed. The Rockets are a 2 seed. I'm curious to see what the odds are. But, man, that one's got some juice to it. Like I said, I'm fired up to see Amen Thompson on Steph Curry. I'm fired up to see Steph Curry and have maybe another little chit-chat with old Ime Udoka. They like to just pal around there right at midcourt from time to time. And, Steph Curry has been haunting Houston Rockets fans come playoff time for a long, long time. The primary reason James Harden never got to a conference finals in Houston or to a finals in Houston is because his damn Golden State Warriors kept getting in the way.
So I thought Desmond Bane played a great game tonight for Memphis. He had 5 threes and he had 2 or 3 of them that rattled out. He very easily could have had more. Unfortunate for Memphis, which, I mean, almost expected at this point that they would have an injury, because they always have injuries. It's just part of their MO at this point. Ja Morant turns his ankle nastily in the third quarter. I didn't get a clean look on the replay. Did it actually come down on Buddy Hield's foot, or did
I think he just tweaked it.
Yeah,
I think
I
he just
thought
tweaked
it did. I didn't get a good look either. I think it did, but I wasn't sure.
Well, they called a foul on Buddy Hield on the play, but the point is he turned the ankle very badly. He came back and played the last 7 or 8 minutes. He made a couple of baskets, but he was not a factor down the stretch of this game. He was clearly hobbled. And now, you know that ankle's going to blow up, and they've got to fly for 4 hours. I don't know if they're going to fly tonight or if they're flying tomorrow, but whenever they're going to have to fly for 4 hours, and that ain't going to be good for that ankle. Well, and now they got to play on Friday. And so I don't know what he's going to be.
I do have good news. They don't have to play a good team because the Memphis Grizzlies cannot beat a good Western Conference team. They've only been since January since they beat a plus 500 team in the Western Conference. They won't have to worry about that on Friday. The old mighty Mavs or them Kangs are coming, and I think the Grizzlies will be okay.
Well, listen, the Grizzlies twice in the last 5 days have had one of the elite teams in the West, in theory, Golden State and Denver, on the road in both games, up in the fourth quarter, both games, couldn't win either one. And that's going to be what defines their season. They win that game on Wednesday, or Friday, I should say, in Denver. They're a top 6 team in the West. And we'll see what their run looks like in the playoffs. They win this game today. They get a Houston team. They certainly would have gone into the series feeling like they could beat. Instead, they're either going home on Friday or they're drawing dead against Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And that really sums up their whole season. Just not quite enough.
On February 5th, they were the 2 seed. Actually, later than that. They took over the 2 seed on February 5th. They were the 2 seed as late as February 20th. Okay. When they fired Taylor Jenkins, they were tied for the 4 seed. Okay. They came in tonight as the 8. And they had a lead in this game. They've had some bad luck, but they've also let this slip through. And Ja's injury had obviously affected how they slipped from the 2 seed down.
Bad luck, sure, but they've been a pretty bad team.
Yeah, I know.
For months now. Like, really, dude?
Like, the last time they beat a Western Conference playoff team was on January 30th.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
And beat the Rockets.
They fired Taylor Jenkins when he did because Zach Kleiman looked at this and said, this thing's flaming out in the first round. And ain't nothing we've seen since then change your mind on that. That's for sure.
Well, it's something to watch on Friday. I think they're going to win the game on Friday. But if they don't win the game on Friday, Memphis Grizzlies traded a lottery-protected first-round pick to get rid of Marcus Smart back in February. So if they lose that game on Friday, they'll get the 14th pick in the draft. It's just something to watch in that game, see how it goes.
A couple